Hey, Walt here from StogieReview.com with another video cigar review. And you know, this time around I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. You know, I came down here and I started looking through my humidors, my coolers, and you know, I really can't decide what to review. You know, I've got some stuff that needs a full-blown review. I've got some stuff that I can do a first impressions on, but I really didn't feel like doing all the typing involved in a first impressions review. And because I waited until the absolute last minute to do this video, I've got very little time before I have to quickly edit and upload for tomorrow. So I thought, well, you know, what's the best thing to do in this scenario aside from just winging it and typing something up briefly? And I decided, well, you know what, the lazy reviews, the old short ashes always worked great in these scenarios. So maybe I'll give that a shot. So I'm digging around in the coolers, digging around in some humidipack bags that I've got set aside. I'm looking for something that we've reviewed in the past that is relevant. So, you know, I pulled out a Rodrigo cigar, and I was thinking, well, you know, I can do a short ashes on this. But then I'm thinking, well, you know what, I'm pretty sure that Mike did the review on this, and I'm pretty sure that it was a first impressions review, so I can't really do a short ashes on a first impression. It just doesn't work. So I'm digging some more, and you know, I'm not really happy with anything. And eventually I came to a cigar. I looked at it, I put it back, I dug around some more, I went back, I pulled it out, I looked at it again, I stuck it back in the bag, and then by the third time I went to it and pulled it out of the bag, I decided, you know what, the hell with it, I'm gonna go ahead and smoke it. And that is the Joya de Nicaragua Antano 1970 Grand Consul. And you know, that I kept looking at this and putting it back, not because it's a bad cigar, but just because the last one I had earlier this week didn't produce a lot of smoke. Now, it was the only one in the bunch that didn't produce a lot of smoke, but you know, that sort of souring experience is still fresh in my mind. So you know, I'm thinking, you know, I want to enjoy whatever I smoke tonight. I don't want to be smoking it and feel as though it's a chore just to get this video done. So I'm looking, and finally I caved and decided to pull it out, and we're going to go ahead, light it up, and get started. These cigars I got, they're I guess all the Grand Consuls are torpedo shaped. They're a 60 ring gauge, and I'm not quite sure how long they are. I guess they're like 5 by 60 torpedo. But I got these cigars on Cigar Bid. It was actually like the last online order that I placed, and a month and a half ago maybe. I got it from Cigar Monster. I just happened to catch that Monster Mash or whatever it is they do between 11 and 12, and you know, they have all these products listed. I can't stand checking it constantly. I get kind of annoyed having to do that only to find some famous house brand on sale. So if I remember, I check it between 11 and 12, and I get a listing of, you know, like the last 12 deals or whatever it was that they had available. And then I'll pick through then if anything jumps out at me. You know, if there's like one on the list, I don't really bother. But you know, if there's two, or in the case when I ordered these, 3, and they're for a good price, you know, sometimes I'll put an order in. And I wound up getting a 5-pack of these for like 15 bucks, something like that. Now, I prefer the smaller size, and every time I say that, I get a voice in the crowd is like, you know, you're a wuss, you know, smoke the Grand Consul, the big one. I really prefer the Corona in this lineup, but I like the 1979 or the 1970 line as a whole. So when the opportunity presents itself to buy one of the other sizes at a good price, I usually don't pass it up because I do like the line in general. So that's where we're at here. These cigars have been sitting probably a month and a half. This is the last one out of the 5-pack, and you know, it's been quite a while since I've had this line. But, you know, before the 5-pack, I think I've polished off the last box at Kensington when he had the Coronas, and that was a long time ago. So this cigar kind of brings back fond memories. I've liked the line, and it's always been known as a very full-bodied cigar. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not quite sure who did the review on this last. It may have been me, but I'm like 95% sure that we've done a review on this in the past. So if we haven't, and I'm doing a short ashes review on a cigar that we haven't reviewed, that's going to kind of suck. But I guess I'll have to check that when I turn the camera off after I get the cigar lit. And it's taken quite a bit of effort to get lit. I would imagine it's from a lot of Ligero in the blend. Part of the problem is that, you know, if you, in between my words, you'll hear humming. That's this wind tunnel that I'm in. I've got an exhaust fan up here, and I've got a box fan in the corner. I had this, you know, this big whisper quiet oscillating fan, and the thing was awesome. And I gave it up for my wife. She wanted it upstairs because it was getting warm, and this was right before I put the air conditioners in. And I swapped it out, and I put a noisy box fan down here just to hold me over, and somehow that fan has not made it back down into my office. So I may need to go out and buy another one, because the box fan is entirely too loud, and because it's not oscillating, it's like blowing right at me, so it makes it a little difficult to light cigars and just light the lighter in general because of the little bit of a breeze I've got going by. But now that you know the setup of my office and what the noise is, first couple of puffs are nice and stout. They coat the palate well. There's a little bit of a spicy component in the back of the throat, a minor irritant. The smoke volume is not as good as I'd like. The tapered head, the shaped head, is really dense. It's on the verge of being rock solid, and I think that maybe that's restricting the airflow a little bit. But I'm going to smoke it a little bit further and see how it goes, how it opens up. I'll probably be back at the halfway point, and then maybe again as we wrap up. I really don't remember how I was doing these short ashes reviews. I think it was in those segments. I know those short ashes reviews were also very short. Glancing down at the timer, it looks like I'm just about to hit 8 minutes. So yeah, this one's probably not going to be short, but it is what it is. So sit tight. I will be right back in just a second. We'll take a look at the first half of my Joya de Nicaragua Antano 1970 Grand Console. As you can see, I've reached about the halfway point on my Joya de Nicaragua Antano 1970, and it's smoking pretty well. You know, earlier on I was getting not a lot of smoke, but it's certainly better now. Initially, I was getting sort of like a free-flowing draw, but it was kind of airy, so I wasn't getting a lot of smoke coming through the cigar. Now I'm getting a bit more smoke, and as a result I'm getting more flavor on the palate, and the cigar tastes more rounded, whereas before it was just kind of weird because I didn't feel like I was getting the full palate full of smoke. You know, I did go back on Stogie Review and I looked to make sure that we did review the cigar, and I did the review back in 2007, so I read over the review really quick, and my review basically said that it was a full-bodied cigar with the primary flavors being oak and black pepper. And comparing those notes to how this cigar is smoking now, it seems pretty similar. I mean, it is full-bodied. It coats the palate well, gives you that syrupy sort of texture on the walls of the mouth, tongue, and palate. And there's a definite black pepper component. It's kind of irritating on the back of the throat, mildly. It's not something that would make me put the cigar down and go pick something else. It's a little aggressive, but it's really not bad. It's just a minor scratch in the back of the throat. As far as the oak flavor that I was getting before, I'm definitely getting sort of a woody, nutty kind of flavor. And I don't know whether it's because of the ring gauge being larger, but I'm leaning away from oak. And I think it has more of that bitterness that you get from like a walnut. Not the wood, obviously, but the actual nut, the walnut. And it's it's a good flavor, although I prefer the smaller sizes. I know I said that already, but you know, I keep smoking this thinking, you know, wow, this would be better if it were smaller, because I lean towards the Corona and the smaller sizes of the 1970 Antano. So I definitely have a bias. I like the smaller sizes, but for the price, I mean, you really can't turn them down. Smoke time is pretty good. I haven't been keeping an eye on the clock, but the cigar just feels like it's smoking at a nice, slow but steady rate. The ash is nice and firm. I've got one big monster hunk of ash in the ashtray, so it got pretty long, came off in one big piece. It held a nice compacted shape. There's no flowering or flaking, making a mess. It's a very neat cigar. The burn line is pretty thin. There's a slight wave to it, but again, I've got a fan blowing at me, which could be causing that. But it's pretty good overall. As I said just a few minutes ago, the smoke volume is good. It's coating the palate well. And all in all, I'm pretty happy with it, and I like where the cigar is going so far. So in an effort to keep this video kind of condensed, I'm going to take another break. I'll be back in just a second. We'll take a look at my final thoughts of the cigar as I wrap it up, and then I will let you be on your way. So sit tight. It is about time to wrap up my Joya de Nicaragua 1970 Antano, and this is take 2. Recorded the first time and neglected to turn my lapel mic on, so I had a whole lot of silent movie. So here we are, and as you can see from that little bit of a close-up there, I've got a cigar that's burning really well. Nice thin burn line, relatively even. I mean, I've got a little bit of waviness, but I think it's the fan that's sort of kicking up a breeze and makes it a little erratic. But all in all, it's performing really well. It's getting a little warm as it gets shorter, but really no complaints. It's providing lots of dense smoke, coats the palate really well. It gives me that sort of syrupy texture on the walls of the mouth and palate. And it's relatively short. I mean, after you take that puff, after 15 seconds or so, that syrupy texture dissipates and you're left, you know, not so much feeling fresh, but feeling, you know, ready to go. And you don't get those long lingering flavors or textures on the palate. In addition to burning well and providing lots of smoke, it's providing a nice solid ash. It gets nice and long. I've got 2 big chunks of ash in the ashtray. I've got 1 developing on the cigar. I'll probably ash this one shortly, and then that'll be the end of it. I won't need to ash it again. I'll just toss it in the ashtray, and that'll be the end of it. Flavor-wise, you know, I keep thinking back to that Corona, and the smaller size seems a little sharper and has a flavor profile that wanders a little bit more. This larger size seems to be a little softer on the edges and has more like a one-dimensional flavor profile throughout. And those flavors being a little bit of black pepper, the minor scratchiness in the back of my throat is gone and has been for some time now. But the other major flavor is still that sort of bitter walnut aftertaste, and the combination works really well together. I like the flavor profile of the cigar, although I like the smaller size better. You know, in a nutshell, if this cigar were to come up on Cigar Monster again, and you know, they were on sale for $15 a 5-pack, I would buy another one in a heartbeat. I would probably buy 2 or maybe 3, just because these are nice cigars to have around. Generally, I don't gravitate towards 60 ring gauge cigars because they feel unwieldy and they take forever to smoke. While this one does take a while to smoke, the tapered head really makes it more comfortable to smoke and handle. So I like these quite a bit. And if you like full-bodied, full-flavored cigars, this is definitely something to try. And you know, I don't think you'll be disappointed. So in an effort to keep this video somewhat condensed and relatively short, I'm going to close it out there and say happy smoking. So until next time, I'll catch you later. I guess it should have been until next time, happy smoking, and then I'll catch you later. But I've got it all jumbled. At any rate, I'm out of here.